All right, so I'm going to do a basic overview of the Onward Research RECCE Rig. I recently decided that I was going to get into making some videos and things and kind of showing some people some stuff. So this is kind of my go-to rig right now because I wanted a basic fighting rig. I wanted something that I could house basically like the bare minimum of what I would need in a gunfight. My responsibility as a man and a father and a husband is to make sure that my family's safe at all times, and I feel like this rig in particular would be a great option for the guy that's concerned with that kind of thing. That way if you do have to become like the American Taliban or whatever, you've got a basic fighting load that you can throw on, go take care of business, ditch if you have to, or come back and stash it. So you got a total of 8 magazines on the front. So that's 4 magazine pouches that are double mag pouches. These things carry 2 M4 M16 magazines. You could run 4 AK mags if you needed to, or 4 7.62 by 51 or 6.8 by 51 magazines on the front of this rig. I did add a tactical tailor dangler. This is a tactical tailor GP pouch. My original thought process was nods or GP stuff in here, and then I've got a tactical tailor sear pouch on the other side here. So this sear pouch on this side has a lot of compartments on the inside that I can kind of organize things into, which is great. And then I ended up using the GP pouch more as a med kit than anything because I didn't have a woodland med kit to throw on this thing, and I didn't want to put my medical supplies in my dangler. So I use my dangler for general purpose stuff. I use this as a med kit, and then I've got my magazines up front. Now, what I don't like about having all these mags up front is going prone. It really sucks to go prone with 8 magazines on the front of your rig. If need be, I could always, slim it down to 4 or whatever, but just for the ease of having magazines ready to go, I just keep them in the kit. Of course, they're Gen 3P mags with dust covers on for a few different reasons, but another thing that I've done is I've taken the Haley Strategic sandwich pouch insert, and I've tucked it into the back of here because Onward Research, in their infinite wisdom, decided to leave this entire section around here on the inside open. So not only do you have one little compartment in the middle that you can use for maps and things, but if you put any small items in here, since all this is open, they will end up in a place where you can't reach them. So I have used this little divider to kind of section everything off, and while I do have some dead space inside of here on either side, I can easily access any items that I put into that sandwich pouch. One thing that I would have done if I would have designed this rig, or thought of after the fact and implemented on future rigs, would be to put a zipper pouch right here. So you'd have a zipper going from here to here on both sides, and this section would be divided with a really good stitch, so that you've got a pouch here, and then a big pouch in the middle for your maps and all that stuff, right? I do like the fact that they put this little bit of Velcro on the back here so that I could stick this to the front of a plate carrier if need be, and I could always clip it in with the Swift clip system. They've got a nice little adjustable back strap here. I think it's only like 1 inch webbing, which, like, if it was a little bit wider, I think it'd be more comfy, but 1 inch webbing does the trick. Having run this in a few different classes and things like that, I can honestly say that for such an inexpensive rig, it's a really good option for those who are just getting into this kind of thing. But for the money, it kind of lacks some features. There's a few different things that they could have done with this, but I understand the thought process that came with designing and implementing this rig. It's designed to be able to carry all the basics, and then all your sustainment gear goes in your ruck, because this is designed to be carried with a ruck. Now, would I wear it with a belt rig? Well, that really depends. Depends on what I'm doing. I ran it with the belt rig at One Shepherd for an entire week of training. So that was my initial event, the situational training exercise, and then the 3-day field training exercise at the end. And I can honestly say that a different type of load-bearing equipment would have been better for the small unit tactics, the light fighting infantry stuff that we were doing there. But this was still a very capable rig. It wasn't very comfy to wear with the miles gear because that requires certain connection points and things like that this did not necessarily, have a lot of room to do. But we made it work. We always make it work with zip ties, tape, whatever we got to do. And, in all, I had a pretty successful training. I ended up putting a radio on this side, and then I had like a GP pouch over here for my admin gear and stuff. I ran 4 mags on the rig in the front, and then the rest of my magazines, because I was issued 7. I ran in the pouches on my my belt rig. I had a Mayflower jungle belt system that I was using, and of course I acquired magazines along the way, because everywhere I go, if I see a magazine on the ground, I pick it up. So I ended up turning in, like, I think anywhere between 11 and 15 magazines at the end of the weekend, because I just pick up random mags in the field. If I would have had more time during the day to clean those magazines and jam them full of blanks, then I would have done that and plussed up my team. But unfortunately, the only time that I had that I was able to do that was at night, and it just didn't happen, because it wasn't tactically sound to be jamming mags when we're supposed to be pulling security and stuff. So the way that I set this rig up, and I'm not sure if I've covered this yet in the video, is GP at the bottom, medical, sear, and then magazines, of course, admin gear in this little pocket, and then I've got my multi-tool here, and then I've got a compass and a whistle in here. Everything's tethered down with 550 cord or accessory line, and then I've also got on the back my name and an identifier, so it's really easy to tell who I am, what organization I'm with. And then I've got my little ranger beads here that I made. I can't remember where I got these beads from in particular. I think I took them off a different ranger bead set, and I put thicker 550 cord on there to make things nice. So they don't slip down on their own. You have to actually force them down onto the cord there. I could go into depth about like what GP stuff I keep in here, or what medical supplies I keep in here, or what SEER equipment I keep in there, or even what admin gear I keep in this, but those are all for a different video, for a different time. This is just a quick in-depth review of the RECCE Rig. While there are some things that I would do differently on this rig, there are a lot of things that they did right, such as these nice little waterproof tabs right here on the pouch, so that keeps your mags a little bit dry. They've got some drainage down here that I don't know if a lot of people have noticed. I don't even know if I can show, but these pouches are open-ended right there at the bottom on purpose for drainage, so that's kind of nice. Instead of using the old grommets or whatever, which can be kind of noisy, or give away your position depending on if all the black rubs off and they get shiny or something. So that's kind of a neat thing. I kind of wish they would have implemented some tie down points, kind of like what's on a few of these tactical tailor pouches, like on the inside of here there's 550 cord gutted tie downs sewn on in a few different places. So it would have been nice to implement something like that for our compass, or our whistle, or Ranger bees or something like that. But overall, I make the MOLLE work, and I just tie the stuff onto that. It's a pretty rugged, reliable system overall. And there were some things that I don't really like about how this is set up. Like, while this buckle here is removable, I think this one right here might actually be a full piece of plastic all the way through. So they could have made that removable for whatever reason, or replaceable, easily replaceable, as opposed to just sewn on. So that's something to consider for any of you guys out there that are into sewing and or tactical nylon or whatever. So there are some Velcro tabs right here for cable management, or for routing hydration bladder hoses and stuff like that. That's pretty nice. I have considered doing the Plat-A-Tech Chicom thing on the back, and running a MOLLE pack of some sort, kind of like the B-Tap from Eagle. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to find anything like this in woodland camouflage with MOLLE on the back. So I've been able to run this pack with this together, and it's been pretty effective. Been a pretty good kit so far. I've also ran the RECCE Rig with a medium Alice ruck, and that works pretty good too. But there's some equipment conflictions along the way. Not really a whole lot. A whole lot of discomfort or whatever, but just certain things don't necessarily mesh well. Certain things could be a little bit better, but overall, if you're not spending a whole lot of money on a rig, if you want something that's entry level that does a fair amount as far as holding all your fighting gear or whatever, this is a pretty decent little rig to run, especially if you're running like a 2-inch rigger belt and you can throw stuff on your belt, such as a combat knife, or holster, or your extra pistol magazines or whatever. That works very well in conjunction with this rig. I feel like maybe for the money you could probably buy a T-Rex Traps rig, a little bit close to the same price, and have an overall better, more modular system, because these pouches up front are not removable. If they would have made these removable and had 2 rows of MOLLE per pouch there, and about like 4 rows deep or whatever, then that would have probably been a little bit better. But it is what it is, it's a basic rig. You really can't expect much for that. So with all that being said, that's my review of the Onward Research RECCE Rig. And final thoughts on that is it a good rig? Yes. Would I buy it again? Probably not. Would I recommend it to another person who's maybe not looking to spend a whole lot? Probably. It's really going to depend on you and your needs, because everybody's mission is different, right?